Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And this morning we're going to go over the Tecsun S-8800 receiver's remote. And we're just going to talk about the function on the remote. I'll be doing another show where I actually show you the remote controlling the radio. We're just going to do a quick show. Yeah, I can't do a good show anymore. Of the functions that are on the remote. A lot of functions on the remote. So we got the manual here, and I'm down in my workshop, and I'm using my overhead camera so that you can see the manual and you can see the remote. I'm zoomed in as far as I dare go in. So you probably can't read what's written here, and I'm going to tell you what's written here. So here's the remote. The first button, obvious button here, is the on-off button to turn the radio on and off. Over here is, this is really bizarre. There's a little light here. It actually looks like could be a button, like a reset button. And it says in the manual, don't press. Water ingression prevention only. So they basically have maybe this particular brand of remote, that was a reset spot, and they sealed it in so they claim the water won't get into the remote. So that's kind of ironic. The next one is a symbol that indicates sleep mode, so you can control the sleep mode of the radio. You can set the time that it's in, the time that the radio stays on before it shuts the radio off. Down here are two buttons, similar size, side by side, and above it it says delete. And this is for in the virtual memory mode, which you're playing with the memories that are in the radio. You can delete if you press the button over here, and I really need a pointer, so my fat finger's in the way. The button here, it deletes all the memories. Gone. This one just deletes one. Okay, then down in this area here is the numeric keypad. The numeric keypad can be used for putting in the frequency. So this is how you direct tune the radio. If you're in the memory mode, it will select the memory channel that you've stored, or memory location that you've stored. So that's what these keys are for. Down here is the enter button. So if you've made a selection like a frequency or something, or you want to select a channel like channel or memory location 12, push in 1, 2, and then enter. Pretty straightforward. This button here is the memory button. That puts you in the memory mode. So you're now not tuning the radio manually or with the keypad. You're tuning it by selecting the various memories and doing things with the memory, such as storing and retrieving and erasing. So that's the selection of that. Then it's got this kind of toggle wheel here, which has multiple functions depending on what mode you're in. You can use it to change the volume. You can use it to change which memory you're listening to, which memory channel you're listening to, and you can change the frequencies by using this. And again, I'll be showing you how this actually works with the radio. And then you can, it says, let me go down, I have to read the book here. It says it also can be used scan. It says in the VF mode, variable frequency mode, press and hold to scan all available stations in the selected frequency band. Okay. Now, this is something I have to learn here, because, yeah, that is a button. It didn't look like the words were buttons, because they weren't like buttons up here where they actually stand up. But these are buttons here. So this is the volume up and down button. Right there, you press that, and this is the scan button. And as the manual was saying, if you're in the VF mode, it puts it into scan mode, ATS mode. Or if you're in the memory mode, it will scan the memories that you've stored. Okay. Boy, it's got a lot of buttons. Okay, now, let's see if I missed anything here. Oh, it points, in the manual, it points to this button here, which is marked volume plus, and it says, oh, I take that back, it's pointing to the 0 button, and it says auto sorting memory. Now, I've heard that function mentioned before in other radios, and what it does is, if you put in a bunch of memories and they're kind of out of order frequency wise, you know, you got like 11 megahertz 0.700 at one frequency, and then the next one you got 9 megahertz. This button will sort those so they're in the frequency sequence. And that way, when you either go through the various memories by using the up down for memories, or you tell it to scan memories, it will scan it in sequential order by frequency. I hope I explained it properly. I don't know if I did. Down here is the AM bandwidth, and there's 2 sets of bandwidths, one for AM and one for single sideband. This button here is the AM normal, meaning just the normal AM mode versus single sideband. Or if you're in an FM mode, FM radio, it selects whether it's outputting stereo or mono. Over here is the upper and lower sideband selection, if you're in single sideband mode. Down here is the shortwave band selection. So it jumps through the various shortwave bands, and I assume it means the international broadcast bands. And then when you use scan, it will scan that particular band that you've selected with these buttons down here, plus or minus. Yes, because right above these 4 buttons it says ATS. So this is used for the ATS mode. And then you've got medium wave selection and FM selection. And in sub modes of those 2 buttons is the, under medium wave is the 9 or 10 kilohertz steps. So that's how you could, that's another way you can change that step. I blew my mind when I first turned on the radio for the very first time. In that when I was tuning the radio, it was changing in odd increments. And I'm like, uh-oh, I got a broken radio. Because normally when a radio comes, it has, if it has that option, it has it defaulted to 10 kilohertz, which is used in the United States. Now, it doesn't surprise me that it was defaulted to 9 because this radio is made in China. So I was like tuning this thing, I was like, why is it jumping in these oddball steps? You know, instead of the 5, 10, 15 kilohertz, it was, you know, these odd numbers, which was because it was changing at the 9 kilohertz step rate. Kind of blew my mind there for a few seconds. And then finally, this button here is used for the desired FM band or range, because it has variable ranges of FM and AM that you can set the radio up to tune, depending on which one is applicable for where you're trying to listen. I can look that up real quick just for the heck of it. If I can find it real quick. Yeah, so for instance, in the medium wave button has those selections too. So medium wave, you can select either 520 to 1710 or 522 to 1620. That's the 9 versus 10 kilohertz steps. And the FM, you can select 64 to 108 megahertz or 76 to 108 megahertz or 87 to 108 megahertz or 88 to 108 megahertz, which is used in the United States. Okay, I think I've covered all the buttons. Like I say, I will be doing some live with the radio testing of this remote and its functions. Oh, by the way, the remote uses 2 AAA batteries, which it comes with. Again, I kind of suggest, I just like to, I'm super cautious. I suggest that you replace the ones it comes with a well-known brand that are not likely to leak as much. Just a suggestion. It also had this little indentation here for your finger to sit under right there so you could hold the remote nice and secure. The lettering is very easy to read. The buttons, for the most part, are large enough that you're not trying to use the tip of your finger. I can't remember which devices, but I have some devices that the buttons are so small that I have to use actually a dull pin or something to push the buttons because they're so small. Anyway, I think that's it. So I'm recharging the radio so it's fully charged, and we're going to do some actual showing of the functions of the radio, and then we're going to do some shows, multiple shows on reception testing, probably another 4 or 5 shows just on this radio. As I mentioned before, if you have any questions, please leave a comment, or if you kind of like a private question, you can send me an email to TRRS73@gmail.com. If I had a big marker, which I do, you see this might be too big, so you can send an email to TRRS73@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, sure to you can send them to me an email there, and I'll answer your question directly. Okay? If you enjoyed the show, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.